Welcome back, everyone. So many of us build our families through not only natural childbirth, but also adoption. And today, we're answering a viewer's question asking, when is the best time to tell your son or daughter that they were adopted? Back with us this morning, our life coach, Pat Barone of Catalyst Coaching. Pat, thank you very much. Obviously, so many different scenarios here. But in general, you have some thoughts on this. And do you want to just start? First of all, are so many of the adoptions today open anyway that most children would just know this?
Right, and you know, if you've adopted your child as an infant, it's probably best to just make it a matter-of-fact thing. You can start reading to them at a very early age about different types of families, and you can identify yours as one of those types.
It just seems
a chosen family rather than maybe an organic family or a blended family, which happens a little later in life.
Yeah, I just know this conversation has really evolved. I was adopted, and talking to friends now who are adopting, everything just seems so open.
Right.
Okay, so when to tell your child they were adopted? But at the age of 0 to 2.
Right. If it's infancy, then definitely between the ages of 4, like I said, you can start setting it up ahead of time, but just make it a matter of fact. And between the ages of 3 and 4, they'll become more aware of it, and it'll be part of their life.
If they're a little bit older?
If they're a little bit older, then if you've adopted them between the ages of 4 and 6, or between
16.
They may remember, of course, being in a different environment. So you're going to want to emphasize the change. And some kids come from some backgrounds that aren't, very good, and so they'll remember all of that. So you want to emphasize that things have changed now, and you want to just talk about the fact that those changes are important. When they're older and they haven't been told when they were young, say they were adopted from infancy, but they're in their teens or above 8, then you want to find that good time to tell them. You want the parent to be ready, but you also want the child to be ready. And I brought a few tips for those readiness cues. The first one is you want the child to demonstrate security and contentment, and you want it to be a good time for them as well. It's best not to do it when they're in some kind of a transition or they're distracted by maybe a new school or something like that.
So some other big change in their life.
Right. And then, you also want to make sure that the parent is ready to fully discuss what's going on as well. Sometimes kids will start to ask questions. They'll have a little bit of an inkling that they may be adopted, or they'll be curious about their origins, and they'll start asking. That's their sign to you that they're ready to talk about it.
Detriments to hiding that conversation or not having that conversation?
What's hard when you're not proactive about looking for that good spot to talk about it is that then sometimes you have to talk about it during traumatic times. Illness, or the child needs a transfusion, or it sort of comes out when there's also a lot of drama or trauma going on, and that can sometimes interfere with really receiving the information, in a loving way and a positive way.
Overall, best piece of advice for parents out there that may be struggling with this conversation, though?
Well, I think the emphasizing the chosen part of it is very important. When you've chosen to be a parent, that's fantastic, and emphasizing that is so important. I have a friend who adopted a little girl at the age of 4, and they have an adoption party every year. They invite all their friends, and it's like the most positive thing in their life that they did this.
Talk about that real quick.
They just have a big party. They invite all their friends, but they've done it for her from the age of 4. So she knows she's going to have an adoption party every year, and they're going to reinforce the fact that they came together as a family because they chose each other.
That's very cool.
It's great.
It is.
Be creative about that.
You did send some suggestions about books that would be appropriate to read, and we do have those posted on our web channel, NBC15.com. So if you want more information, look there. Pat, always great to have you in, and an important conversation for a lot of families. So thanks for the insights. We'll be right back.